Hey there guys, today we're looking at Mayo. He's a scout playing in ETF2L Division 3 for Team Freedom. I don't know if this is an official or not, but let's just get this started. Fast forward a little bit. So yeah, you're doing exactly what you want to do right now. If you're going left of the first two you meet, you generally want to be fighting scouts a little bit before you go up on the point, just to avoid any timing stickies from their demo, and just to use your buff. If you're climbing the hoodoo jump using like the opad jump or whatever you want to call it, you're actually just letting a little bit of your buff decay. So if you can manage to do damage while you still have this initial buff, that's great. And yeah, seeing both of them there, the appropriate response would be to back up, so that's good. This guy's isolated, so killing him is great. Probably should have reloaded 6 before you started fighting this guy, because the scout that he was shooting at wasn't in a whole lot of danger. It's pretty easy for him just line of sight block with the train, and since he had a high ground, he could easily fall off of it, and the scout would be pretty strained to really do a whole lot of damage to him. So keep 6 low just for the fact that you'll probably be able to kill them a lot quicker that way. And if you need to deal with a lot of threats towards you or really good focus fire, you're better off than just having a little bit of ammo loaded. And obviously this is going to happen where you run out, and like I said, you're going to get focus fire and you don't really have a lot to deal with it. So just make sure you load a bit more when you have the opportunity. Especially after getting that early kill, it's really easy to be comfortable in reloading a lot and just putting yourself in a position to clean up the mid.
Time has been added.
So spawning like this, I mentioned this in a couple other, yeah, you're going Valley, that's great. Probably just want to go through closet there, it's a little bit quicker than going under the point, but not a big deal. You don't want to be pressuring that scout because he's far away from you and he has buff particles, so any damage you do to him isn't going to do anything, and you're not really deterring him from getting on your team anyway, so it's not really that big of a deal. You should be looking more towards Spire there, as someone's just died on Spire. But at this point, since you're down 1 and your health is poor, you guys are going to have to back up, yeah. Since you have such a big buff there, you should have looked to help your soldier. It wouldn't have mattered because he died pretty quickly, but just in the case that he happened to live there. So your medic drops. You probably want to try and get a force. If people are going in, there's no point in staying alive here. So a couple of people are in right now. Would have been a lot better if everyone was coordinated and obviously you were in there. I don't really know if they got the force or not, but it just would have been the right decision. So you see where they're coming from. You want to spot this shower door just to see if they get in the lobby. You just want to know exactly when. I don't know if they Uber or not, but when they're going to be Ubering into last or what position they're taking, because if they end up staying in yard long enough, you can feel pretty comfortable, since your demo spawned, to kind of put up a forward trap and prevent them from getting into lobby and forcing them to climb. So they probably have like 20% or 10%, 15% if you made them use. So by putting a forward trap up, you buy a bit of time for your team to even out the Ubers. So that's something your team should be looking to do. Right now, I don't think it's necessary to build that much. The demo could be doing it. He probably shouldn't have gone left. And you could be kind of spotting things out a bit better. At this point, you're not really doing anything, so you should probably be actively taking a buff. Unless you're spotting something, you're kind of just hopping around right now. You should probably be getting buffs more actively. So you see them Uber in with a scout, it's going poorly. See, this is a situation where if you had a buff and you are putting your crosshair in the right spot for approaching connector, you'd probably kill him pretty easily. As it stands, you didn't really have a buff, and you were kind of idly just moving your crosshair around. You want to make sure that when you're approaching an area, you have your crosshair in a position that sets it up for an easy shot if someone aggresses you. So yeah, this round's probably going to go to them. Their mate gets on the point, which is pretty good, but you guys end up getting it. So it looks like you did force them, they only had a 20%. Yeah, I wouldn't have gone really aggressive there, because after picking up the med, you want to slow the fight down so their buffs decay, and that guy already didn't have a buff, but like you're already in a winning situation, so it's easy to control the fight and just get picked slowly as you kind of leak out of last as a team.
Thanks, Doc.
So since a lot of people are going lower left, you know, left lobby and lower left are covered, so when you spawn you're looking to go right or main. So I imagine now that your team's backing up, well they should be, and what you're doing, yeah, this is fine. Hopefully your medic lives here. Alright, yeah, that was just a mistake by your team. I wouldn't ever really push out an extreme without really covering everything else, because a lot of people just got in and had the luxury of fighting your scout as he was away from your team. So the medic should have been moving with people to just kind of pick off people hiding. That's like the best you're gonna get out of having 3 up. You should have just been happy with the uber advantage you gained by taking out their med pretty early in the fight. So because of that, you guys lose, and there wasn't a whole lot you could have done there. So you want to put a bit more pressure up here. Your scout on train should be putting some damage elsewhere. Like you should be actively damaging that soldier valley and just kind of doing a bit more work in valley. But it's still your job to make sure you know exactly where their scouts are. And I think they're pushing under towards the right, which is going to leave your combo and your demo if he's window in a little bit of a sticky situation. So you don't really want that. But looks like you guys are going house. And this, you're wasting a lot of ammo. Firstly, at just doing like 7 damage shots at a range. So if you want to put damage on that demo there, you put the first 2 shots on him. Just make sure you hit them harder, so you're not wasting your shots. And like since you have so much range and you're dodging anyway, you have the luxury of hitting those shots and then reload a bit as you push into them, because that's when it really matters. And then I think you focus too much on the medic, and in closing into him so early, even though you're winning, you're probably going to die for this. And I think that had you put damage on the med, looked to reload without committing on him, and just played a bit more passive and then aggressive as your team could kind of follow up on the damage on the med, probably would end up you guys getting a pretty big wipe. But I imagine you'll die here if anyone's paying attention to you. That is not the case. So yeah, that was a good mid. Just a little bit of ammo misuse at the beginning of it. And you didn't really cover... Actually, I guess it didn't matter that you were spotting scouts since you knew they went right and your team is going house. Just scatter it, yeah. Pistol isn't that accurate, so it's not the best for taking out stickies. At this point, you guys could look to push in on that. I don't really know why, but there was an opportunity. And they seem to be a little bit out of position, so you and your armor could have sacked in, and your team could have felt pretty happy just holding mid. Since they would be kind of caught in a transition period, it would take them a while to actually get into you guys. But it's fine that you did this anyway, just an opportunity that was opened up there. You guys should be pretty even, if not them having a minor advantage. But I think their medic was on their demo for a little bit, or for like most of the respawn phase, I guess. So he's not probably building that well. So it would have been even, so you don't really have to worry about a push in. So you're using a sniper here. Probably not the best idea. It's kind of easy to take choke anyway. And he's not really going to be able to get a sightline aggressively. If someone peeks him, he has the potential to get a pick, but he's never really going to be getting around that corner. It's just not going to work out for him. So I wouldn't do this. It just isn't that great. So I imagine this is going to last for fucking ever. or he's gonna die immediately right now when he peeks this. So I guess they're in-house or pushing flank. Or maybe that's their med? Yeah, that's their med. I don't know. They should have been holding choke much more aggressive there. Just killing him as soon as he peeked. But you guys got the med, and in that situation you don't want to go. You guys ended up Ubering. It's a little weird. I don't know, that was just weird in general, but you don't want to die as your sniper gets their med. I'm pretty sure that was the med, but I don't really know, so maybe I'm wrong. But as soon as you get that med in such like a controlled environment, you don't really feel the pressure of having to do a whole lot. You just stay with your team and make sure they don't get killed. And at that point you can give up the sniper, so if he's, you know, fucked, someone gets on him, then whatever. Probably wanted to take that a bit more carefully. You just kind of walked in and just into a sight line where people would be spamming as they backed out, but it wouldn't really have mattered. But if you guys were looking to push off of something, it could have been a problem. Just taking a little bit too much damage and slowing down a bit. So right now your team's Ubering through the bottom right, so I'd be looking to push through connector in the top right. And you should have been, I don't know if your team was communicating like what they were planning on doing before you got in there, but you probably should have been clearing sticks here, just so you were a bit more aware of the situation pushing in here. But there's no reason not coming into the top right just to get another buff and help out with killing people. Realistically, that soldier didn't have a whole lot of reason to drop down, this one on the point here, so he probably should have killed you on the top left while the demo dealt with the point. So this kind of lone aggression isn't really helping. And you can accomplish pretty much the same thing by pushing the same side as your team. And since you know that you probably have like 40% and your team pushed pretty quickly, I wouldn't have been too worried about them getting it. Unless I'm not calculating that properly, but yeah. Okay, see again, your crosshair's not at the right spot. You're just looking at the ground, and you want to be placing it where potential threats can come from, like the most dangerous threat to you. Just put your crosshair around that area, just so if something happens, you're already in the situation to deal with it. And yeah, since the demo and the scouts are on the ground, and as soon as you see these soldiers come on the ground, it's pretty much done for your med. Like, he's not going to be able to get out of a valley, and it doesn't matter. So he can be backing up here with one person. I think the demo is probably with him or close to him, and that's probably what you're going to get out of this mid, and you should be going through closet or here a bit earlier, jumping around closet just a little bit earlier, so you can pressure the people as they're coming in from behind, instead of them already being in position to kind of deal with you as you drop onto them. So yeah, they could have turned around pretty easily. Kind of damaged you a bit, but oh, their demo got over there. That's interesting. That's just a weird mid, not gonna lie. But everything went pretty smoothly. Your medic probably would have lived had everyone just kept a little bit better track of what was going on, but there's not a whole lot to comment on there. They just made a lot of mistakes. That just wasn't the best mid for them, but you definitely should have gotten up a bit earlier. You'd prefer to be pushing them from behind rather than getting on them after they got on your team, just to put a little bit more pressure up. Make them look at you. And just like the telling thing for good scouts is how much damage they mitigate for their team. So in situations where you're already winning, a lot of the times I'll tell people to just chill out, scouts to just chill out. You don't really have to do anything else, because in that situation you're already winning most damage trades. So I wouldn't take anything that's not for certain, or at least very, very likely. And then situations where you're losing or it's even, you should be looking to play a bit more aggressive to take some pressure off your team. That's kind of the sign of a good scout in my book, is just doing things that help out the team rather than just waiting for kills to be gifted to them. Because let's be honest, that's kind of what scouts turned into, at least in North America. I don't really know about Europe, but a lot of scouts aren't very good, and they're just taking what they're given. Some people are better at it than others, but the really good scouts are doing things for their teams before those situations arise. Just keep that in mind, that you're looking to mitigate damage, take some damage away while living. So if you can be very safe like that and also make people look at you and do a lot of damage, win some damage trades, then you're doing a really good job. You don't want to worry about this guy because his medic's probably going to get back to him. And there's 2 people coming up the left without a buff that you should probably be looking towards to kill, because this guy's just going to get Ubered and you're putting yourself closer to him, which is never a good idea. And these scouts are pretty juicy targets from the beginning. It looks like you guys weren't holding anyway, so probably the proper reaction would just leave there.
Time has been added.
You want to be in this Uber. It doesn't matter if people start backcapping, because as long as this Uber is really strong, you can feel comfortable sending pretty much everyone back for it. And you're just really concerned about getting their medic, or at least killing enough people that this point and the next point are pretty easy to get. So it's pretty easy to see where the medic positioning where he is right now. That had you been there, you probably would have picked him off. Fortunately, you guys capped this. Now you want to start moving towards choke,
The control point is
because that guy at Spire is going to be coming through pretty soon, and you want to pick him off. Yeah, I think that was just a bit greedy on your team's part there. Should have backed up a bit more. Demo's sticking, drop down, you don't have to worry about him. Getting on them like this isn't going to do anything. You gave away your position too quickly. Like, you fired a little too quickly to really commit on them, so there's no real point in doing this, and you're still way too far ahead without doing anything. So it was good that you went up early just to figure out where they were, but you have to wait for your team, so turning around when you have the luxury just to see where they are is probably something you should pick up on mechanically.
alert. The control alert. Our
So I think you guys have Uber advantage again. This guy's gone, ignore him. You know, he's gonna get away if he wants, and your soldiers can deal with him a bit better. You're more concerned in that situation to prevent other people from coming through choke to assist with his distraction, just because it's a little bit easier for a scout to do that than it is to follow a soldier.
The control point is being captured.
So fuck behind, yeah, look in front of you. If you keep this Uber, you guys are probably gonna be able to get it to last, especially after picking that med. So yeah, just play around your med. The worst thing that can happen is the guy from behind is gonna shit on you guys. So just be really cautious about that, and you shouldn't be trying to fight him. Because if he wins this 1v1, he can potentially get on your team. So if you're gonna fight him, make sure you have a buff. Since you picked 2 people in front of you and there was a person dead for a mid, I wouldn't be too concerned about looking in front of you, and be a little more concerned about watching behind. Unless your team's called that the scout made it to forward spawn, then that's probably what you should be looking to do. So this should be a little easy last take, and you should get in on a bit of this Uber. Just take your time. Like you're already in such a big advantage, so you don't really need to waste all that ammo. And you're probably better off shooting the soldiers anyway, because the mag's only going to be healing 24 health per second. Not really doing a whole lot. So you can see how you wasted like 800 damage on the medic. Didn't hit him a whole lot, and even if you did hit him, it wasn't really gonna help that much. Like, he lived for probably 8 seconds longer than he would have if you hit him, and that's only about, like, I don't know, 200 health. This early aggression's okay. You put them in the valley a bit earlier, but in this situation, if you're looking to do that with your mids, you probably want to do it a bit earlier and with a bigger buff, so you might look to delay for a buff at the beginning of mid, just so the timing is a bit better. But yeah, if your team plays a little bit passive, your demo's out of position here. He's just make sure nothing gets on them, your team. So but you're probably gonna win. Their med gets a saw, but it's not gonna do a whole lot. He's just gonna die really late. So you guys are probably taking last off of this. Yeah, you should have something like a 40% advantage. Hopefully your med spawns with something. So don't fight him, yeah. Just make sure you don't have a chance of dying here, because you're already at advantage, so you don't really need to do anything crazy. This is stupid. Someone can peek you from the left or from shutter, you just lose. Now you need to get on the scout that's getting on your demo. I don't know kinda why you just sat there and watched that happen, but you probably should have kept going and picked your demo, but luckily for you, he pussied out. This is an easy kill. And now you guys should push into last. Get in on this. Hit the demo. Pretty sure. Yeah, just don't shoot the medic when you're already winning. You know you had around 43%, so he wasn't close to getting Uber. And when he's only got one person to heal that's already fully buffed, he's not doing anything. Like, he's not gonna help. So, yeah. Just kill the other peoples. This is interesting. I guess your team's gonna go closet. This is a shit. Don't ever do this. You just didn't do anything there. A good team, if they see you, they're just going to ignore you, and I think someone saw you, but in general, it's just a gamble that you don't want to take. You never want to be flanking in mid. It just doesn't work. It counts on the other team not acting, and you never want to really count on that. So I probably should have done a double take a choke there in pretty much the same position, and even if they had pushed out, you'd probably be accomplishing the same thing had you, or the same thing as if you had flanked. It just would have been better in pretty much every way.
Get on a cab, guys!
You probably could have killed him if you dropped off a point, and that might not have been a bad idea. Because it would allow you to sack in here and maybe you can get something done, but that isn't really a mistake, just a decision that you could have made had you wanted to. Alright, so you guys are just waiting on Uber. I think it's pretty even, right?
Doc, come on, man!
So you guys end up Ubering. What your scout did there is a pretty good idea, but I think you should have stayed in on the Uber. And yeah. When it's even like this, you don't really want to drop to the ground. You want to force them to the ground if they're not already there by getting on the point, but other than that, you're not really accomplishing a whole lot for your team by being on the ground while they're Ubered, even if they're not. So you probably just want to go up top if up top's available. Granted, I don't think they should have dropped down, so... Since he was in, or you were in his blind spot, you could look to push that guy a bit more and probably put him down to like 90 or 80 before getting up top here. That would have been a good example of some free damage to get. This guy's gone, you don't need to kill him. Like, if there's a situation that's going on where someone gets put into a 2v1 or he's pulling people away, I would be very worried about the rest of my team. Because I would imagine that the enemy would probably like push into them, knowing that kind of their scouts are disposed with putting damage on one guy. So just making sure like this mitigating damage kind of thing. It's not quite one for your team yet, so you shouldn't be focusing on those kills. But that was fine. I just a little too much resource commitment there, both scouts and all of that ammo just for one guy that wasn't really a threat to anyone. You don't want to be here anymore, you're not going to get anything done. You're just putting yourself at risk. If that guy really wanted to kill you, the one that was building with the med, he could have pretty easily. And as soon as they get through choke, you can look to force them here if you have 185, and your demo can just spam behind. In that sense, like if you happen to push into them as they're pushing in, there's no way they're not going to Uber there, and that's really nice for your team. But it looks like I guess you're the passive scout, and your scout buddy ended up doing that. So they're coming through house. I don't think you can really afford to die anymore, so probably just want to back up. Yeah, just leave. Yeah, you're not doing anything here. They will kill you with ease if they want. That scout was just a bit slow, and that soldier shouldn't have jumped that early. Pushing up here a little dangerous. They know you're there. They probably should have killed you with some stickies. This is the right time to get a pack. There's a soldier on your med. You should have worried about that, because these guys are fucked anyway. He's gonna do another. Oh, he didn't. Why did he not try to saw you again? Alright, well. Maybe your med lived. Yeah, he did. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, you're fine then. But I probably would have killed that soldier first, because the demo and mag aren't gonna do shit from closet. Should be easy cap. And then easy last from here, because you guys have pretty big advantage. At least 40. I think your med may have been respawning there, but if not, then you guys should be looking to push in right now, and you should probably be with your team.
Doc, come on, man.
So you want to be locating things for your team right now. Try to find a pyro or a sentry gun somewhere, just so they aren't pushing into a door that isn't very favorable to Uber through. So seeing the sniper up here, it's a good call to just have your team go straight into them, because in the event they have it, it's really easy multi, and in the event they don't, then you're going to get a bunch of kills there. So he ended up backing out, but had you just taken the Uber there, you would have been pretty golden. So yeah, that's a little bit early to go up, especially when both of them are going up. You definitely had the chance to turn around there. That's some good damage on the soldier. You don't want to be looking to go into house like you were there. Probably just wanted to kite behind their train and keep doing damage and distract for your team, because going into house you're probably going to run into that guy that was falling back there, and then there was also some guy that you didn't know, and he ended up going towards those two, which is just a bit unlucky. But in general, if you're not confident in being able to take their pack, you probably don't want to go there. You just want to be like know where everyone is. So you're not accomplishing anything here. I wouldn't want to be at the end of this Uber. This demo didn't reload stickies, so he didn't keep her team out. But I don't know, you guys probably should have got mulched there. They missed a lot during the brief period they had to Uber, and you guys didn't. And then they just didn't reload during the end of their Uber. And if you wanted to do something there, you probably wanted to play a bit further back, just like kind of do a big flank on them, so you could jump off of Launchpad or Pride Rock, whatever you want to call it, and just kind of poop on them from there after the end of the Uber. But you weren't really going to accomplish a whole lot standing in the Uber, especially when you don't know it's going to end. Probably should have kept aggressing choke just until your team could set up positioning there. Yeah, I don't know why they really Ubered through there, since your team is so far back, but they did. And you guys get a bunch of kills on the flank. Now you can kill the demo and the med. This time you want to be killing the med, because the demo doesn't have any ammo. And you want to make sure he does. Well, I guess it really didn't matter what you did there, honestly. Sorry, didn't mean to pause. Should be easy mode. That's some. You want to drop for that. You don't need 4 times on cap. And just make sure he dies. I don't know why he did a double take. That was pretty stupid. I wouldn't be going bottom right now because this demo could have had that stickied off. Your team's already kind of even or winning. Extra med just spawned? Or they oobed? Use the oobs? I don't really know.
Alert! The control point is being captured.
That was just a little weird.
Time has been added.
And you have a sniper, so they have a sniper too, I'm pretty sure. If they get close enough to choke, you can comfortably push through. Just jump on that barrel and jump through. Tank a lot of damage, or evade a lot of damage. That'll open up a lot for your team. That guy keeps doing that without checking for sticks. So I think they had advantage, and obviously they're not going to use with 1 down. They should still be playing pretty aggressively at this choke with their roamer and looking to make you guys multi. So yeah, you want to take it through patio just so you can push them out a bit. I don't know really why you dropped down, knowing that your team was going valley. You didn't really need to. Wasn't that important. And then yeah, they just kinda win somehow with a worse position. I don't really know what that was about. In general, I don't push flank because you don't get anything out of it unless you catch them without Uber. And even then, like if they're playing properly, they can respond to it and it's the easiest force in the world. And like where it puts you after the Uber is pretty poor too. And obviously the people that aren't coming with are really poorly buffed, so it's easy to win 1v1s against them. Even if you get caught out at choke, it's pretty just easy to push into those guys that aren't healed. Then back into 2 before they cap. There's a scout or a soldier behind you that went through closet that you didn't see. Probably should have worried about him, but obviously you didn't see him, so not a big deal. Should be looking for stickies right now. Spamming him like that isn't shit. He's obviously opening the door to look for something, so like look left to patio, or like left of patio, or right of patio where some people with sticks, but yeah, you just need to clear there. Being the first person in and the best person to clear traps, because dying isn't that big deal for scouts, and you're obviously really quick and hard to dead on. That was questionable, but you weren't kind of forcing that fight, and this is dumb. Yeah, he didn't know you were there, so you could afford taking a little more time before you shot. Make sure the first one's 100. That guy is still playing the shittiest class in the game.
Time has been added.
I guess Europeans like playing sniper more because that jukebox guy or something. I think that's his name. He's a pretty sick sniper. Don't really have 6 snipers in North America. Yeah, there's a lot of 6 snipers. They're just not very good at other classes, so we don't see a whole lot of them. Yeah, and this is... I don't really know what you guys were looking to accomplish there. Some really questionable, like, your team isn't on the same page kind of pushes, and like weird pushing in a mid when they already have a cap pretty much and expecting it to be an even fight when you're pushing into them. So just a lot of big mistakes that aren't... So your demo's going in, you have to go in. I don't know why you didn't get in earlier and why your team's not going in. I don't know if your demo backed up or not. Guess you lagged out. That's unfortunate. So yeah, I think your med's probably dead. I expect him to... he's getting back to you. You should probably be with him. And they dropped their meds, so you're just looking to defend right now. So this would probably be an appropriate time for heavy. Okay, he's gonna leave. There's no one in their right mind that would continue going for the point. And in general, you can just have someone else deal with that, so just make sure you can damage him while he leaves, and if you get good enough damage, you can, like, run into him and make him kill himself with splash damage. So it looks like this is gonna be over pretty soon. Heavy. I don't even think they're gonna push before. Oh yeah, there they go. Heavy. Yeah, you probably don't want to eat that damage. You're not really getting a whole lot from that damage trade, and you're not losing a whole lot from just bailing, so yeah. So good games. Most of the problems are at mid, just poor decision making, bad ammo management and target priority, and the rest of it was just your team doesn't really coordinate that well, and they don't all do the same thing. Not really on the same page, which is a problem, and as far as you go, you're missing a lot of opportunities because you're in this passive role, and it's really stupid to kind of distinguish between that. There's always obviously going to be some guy that's preferred to play aggressively just for the sake of knowing who's doing what. But if you're in this situation where you have a big buff and you have an opportunity, just tell everyone that you're taking it, and your other scout should piss off. And if he keeps making that mistake, like, then you can't say it's your fault, so. But in general, that was okay. There just wasn't a lot of room for you to do anything outside of mids. Oh yeah, and don't run sniper. I don't know, I think mostly it was just them making mistakes that allowed you guys to win that. You didn't really do anything aggressive that really dominated, so I think they just pushed and made a lot of mistakes. But you definitely shouldn't be going back into mid as a team when you don't really have position. They've already capped it in their perfect health. Like, they'll just win those fights if they're not shit. Like, on paper, it's just obvious that they'll win. And you guys are giving up opportunities to forward hold and lobby with 4 sticks on each shutter, and just force them to climb Spire to get some Uber. And in most situations, you can still stay there and get a lot of free damage and force them on bats without using, which is really nice.